Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for joining us this Wednesday as we come together for our weekly Wednesday real estate conversation. I'm Hector Aguilar, your host of Aguilar Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty.
And I'm Ben, your agent.
And Agent Julio.
Agent Julio, thanks for joining us today, guys. Hey, today we wanted to bring a real hot topic in our current real estate industry right now, which is appraisals, right? What an appraisal value is versus what a market value is. And as you guys both know, right now we're experiencing, a lot of activity on listings right now. And if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling, not only do you have to think about appraisal value, but now you also have to think about market value. And today we're going to define what those two are. Hopefully that helps you out in making a decision about listing and selling your home. And if you do want to do that, hopefully you can work with us. So let's get started.
Hector, quick question, Hector. What is the definition of an appraisal for those that don't know?
That's a great question, Ben. So an appraisal is actually a report that is done by a licensed appraiser, a California licensed appraiser. And basically it's a snapshot in time of what your property might be worth to the bank, right? So when you're in a transaction, you're selling your property or even you're refinancing your property, your bank is going to order an appraisal to make sure or to ensure what kind of value it has currently on the market, right? To make sure that that what you're borrowing against the home is actually worth that price. But see, the interesting thing is an appraisal looks at data, or the appraiser looks at data and compares it to your home. So let's say your home is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and it has 1,800 square feet, let's say here in West Covina, and it has a pool, right? So they'll take that information, they're going to find 4 or 5 similar properties in the area, typically within half a mile to no more than a mile within the city, that has the exact same features, a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom with the pool. They're going to put that data together, and out of those 4 or 5 properties, they're going to compare them in addition to the condition. Have they been remodeled? Have there been any upgrades? What's the exterior like? Maybe where the schools are at. It'll take an accountability of all those different data points, and it puts a comparison together, and it actually will come up with what they call a market value approach, right? And that particular approach typically has to do with past data history, right? Past data history. And what does that mean? Is that it's looking at properties that have sold in the last 60 to 90 days max. But right now, we're in a situation where that particular value may not be in fact a market value. And we'll kind of discuss that in a little bit. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Awesome.
And then just to clarify, I heard you say that the bank orders the appraisal?
Yes, the bank orders the appraisal. So typically what happens is in every transaction, you have a mortgage banker, right? Or a mortgage lender. Let's say Chase, United Wholesale Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage, or whomever it is you're using to finance the purchase or refinance of your property. So what happened was many years ago, back in the 2007, 2008, when the market crashed, there was a lot of concerns that real estate agents and loan officers had influence over appraisers. And so there was some legislative laws that went into effect that in a sense said, hey, the agent and the loan officer cannot have any contact or influence with the appraiser because the bank wanted to ensure that they got a fair and neutral point of value or point of view in terms of value for the property. And so there was what's called an AMC was created, which is an appraisal management company. And there's 4 or 5 major AMC companies across the country. And who orders the appraisal is actually the mortgage banker. So when the loan is approved or the client is approved, the mortgage banker will actually click a button, put in an order for an appraisal, and then there's various licensed appraisers that are part of the AMC companies, and they'll pick up that appraisal, right? So that's who orders the actual appraisal in a transaction, whether it be a purchase or a refinance, and it's typically done once the credit line or the credit has been approved for that particular client.
All right. Well,
awesome.
Let's go ahead. You have a question?
No, I was saying awesome. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
So what is the difference then now with market value? Because I think market value, from my understanding, is like just seeing the price comparison with all the other homes in the area, or is it?
That's a really good question. So right now, the topic of today's conversation was market value. And what does that mean? Well, that means the attractability of your property to the current market environment, right? So right now, what we're experiencing is any seller that's on the market and prices their home accordingly. What I mean correctly, because that's really important, is to price your property right, right? Even though properties are selling for above asking price, it's important to price the property right to make sure that you're driving enough buyers and eyeballs and persons and bodies to that home so that you have offers to negotiate, right? And so what we're seeing right now is that market value is actually quite different than appraisal value. And what do I mean? What I mean is that let's just say you have your home on the market here in West Covina at $800,000. You're a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, pool, very nice home, remodeled. And we know for a fact that the value of the property might come in at 800,000, but the market is willing to pay you 850. Let's
Oh,
say 875, maybe even 900. We've seen in situations where property is sold for over $100,000 over asking price.
right.
So that's the definition of market value versus appraised value. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you some data. I'm going to go ahead and show you some information from, let's just say, West Covina, right? You see here in West Covina that this particular property on Grenoble, their asking price was $998. Now it didn't sell for much more than that. It sold for about $1 million more. But we do want to see another property that was asking 988, pardon me, and it sold for $1,030,000. So you clearly see that it sold for about maybe $42,000 above asking price. Okay, so even though the appraisal value was lower, the market value absolutely was higher because there was a lot of demand for that particular property. So we see another property here on Columbus. Their asking price was $998, and we see here that it sold for $1,081,000, right? So almost $100,000 over its appraised value. So again, these are great examples of what appraisal value and market value is. We see another property here on East Hills Drive in West Covina, right? Their asking price was $1,049,000, and look at the price it sold for. It sold for
Yeah.
actually $1,275,000, right?
Wow.
So here you can clearly see there's a big difference in terms of what the appraised value is and what the market value is. So it's just good to note right now for both buyers and sellers the difference between appraisal value and market value. So as a seller, it's a question, it's a good question, right? Are you leaving money on the table? And what do I mean by that? I basically mean in order to get more money for your property, have you taken the necessary steps to prepare your house for the market? Number one, have you updated the kitchen? Have you updated the bathrooms? Have you, refreshed the paint inside? Have you decluttered, made it nice and bright, airy? Is there a lot of natural light? Is it going to be attractive to buyers? And I know many sellers have different websites they go to kind of look at what their value is, but I got news for you. Those values are not actually accurate. There's the famous Zestimate by Zillow, right? There's also Redfin, Realtor.com, and all these websites. They're going to give you a general idea of what they believe your home can sell for, but they're not in the trenches, right? You, Ben, myself, we're in the trenches every day. We see prices of homes, we see activity on the market every single day. That's what we do. So if you're thinking about going on the market, don't take the Zestimate or the Realtor.com value or the Redfin value as the value you have for your home. There's so many factors that go into pricing homes property that, we want to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table. All it takes is for you to give us a call, set an appointment for us to come and preview your home. No obligation. It's just a discovery. We'll figure out, what kind of finishes and updates your home has and the attractability to the market. And then we'll come together with you and we'll say, hey, based on what our findings are, here's where we believe your home could sell for. Not necessarily look at the past history of what homes will sell for, but what we believe your home can sell for in this market. So, if you are thinking of selling, now is the time to sell. Inventory is still low, as you guys know. We're coming into the spring and summer months where traditionally we'll start seeing a lot more homes come on the market. And what does that mean? That means that there's more homes on the market, there's more competition. That means that there's more choices for buyers, right? And the economy has always been supply and demand. Right now, our home inventory is low, but demand is really, really high. So what does that mean for sellers? We're getting multiple offers, oftentimes 20, 30, 45 offers, and they're coming in above price. And guess what? We're also asking buyers to remove their appraisal contingency. We've had videos about those in the past, but basically removing your appraisal contingency means that whether that property comes in appraised, let's say in this particular case, $1,050,000, but you're willing to offer a price of 1.275, well, guess what? You have to make up this gap. You have to come up with the difference between what the appraisal value is and what the market value is. And you have to pay it cash because the bank is only going to finance a percentage of what the appraisal value is. So as a buyer, it's important for you to note as well, what's the true market value that you're willing to offer on a property in order to find your first home or your move-up home. So again, if you're thinking of selling, now is the time to sell. We serve the greater Los Angeles area, but we focus on East San Gabriel Valley and Inland Empire. Ben and Julio have been helping me now for a little over a year. They're fantastic agents. We're ready to help you, put your home on the market. Once again, I wanted to kind of review with you guys and just share what the difference between an appraisal value is and what market value is. And right now, we're in an area where the market value is definitely higher than appraisal value, but that could change. The spring and summer months are coming. More listings are going to hit the market, in my opinion, and that's going to be more competition. So again, with more inventory, it means that buyers have more options, and with more options, possibly that can slow down the ability of people wanting to make offers on your property. So again, if you guys are thinking about selling, please reach out to us. Ben, Julio, and myself would be more than happy to meet with you. I hope that was informational and valuable to you. And once again, I'm Hector Aguilar, your host. Thank you for joining us today on our weekly real estate conversations. We look forward to speaking to you guys again next week. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Ben, Julio, and myself. We'd love to chat with you. Okay. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Julio.
Thank you, guys.
Talk to
Good
you later.
information. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop it up in the comment. We would love to reach back to you.
Yeah. And don't forget, we also post our videos on YouTube, so go ahead and find us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, and we also post it all the time to our Facebook Live. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you you following us, and I hope we bring value to you on a weekly basis. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Take care.